First thing you're going to want to do, remember first, you don't have to put your two tracks out and, you know, get them the right width apart and try and figure all that out. There's no need. Just do one side at a time. Second, let the air out of your tires. I like to take them all the way down to about 10 pounds. Get yourself set up like this. And on the case of this S185, the big obstacle when you're doing this yourself is this right here. This is going to get in your way. What you have to do is take a piece of rope or whatever, tie it to the track, you know, go to the back of the track, like I'm sitting, connect to the track with the rope, go over the tire, somewhere on the boom here. That way you can drive forward, lift the boom at the same time, and that track will follow that tire. Otherwise, there's no way you're going to get it by yourself to snake through that gap. Other machines, you may not have to do that. If so, congratulations. You can just pick the tracks up and lay them over the tire like you think. I should probably put this back on. You saw when I tried to pick that up before, this on that side was getting caught here, which is one way you can avoid having to do that is having either taking the machine on the track the other way. You know, on the other end of this track, there's not this. So I could have done it the other direction. It wouldn't have been an issue. Pick one of your good straps. Then you're going to pay attention to the way this thing ratchets, the way your strap ratchets. Make sure that however you end up having to do this with your strap, that you're going to be able to actuate this as you bring this together, because what can happen is you can get yourself into a bind where you're tightening it and then you get to where you can't move the lever. So make sure you're going to be all right as you put this together. You want to make sure and get them in the center. Get your strap under as much of this track as you can. You're always, as you're doing this, you're constantly making sure these are as tight on the tire as you can get them. Same thing over here. I'm going to go as far as I can, especially because my hooks don't really fit around these depending on the direction. So if they're also being pinched by the tire to help them be in place, that'll help keep them from slipping. Okay, now before I start ratcheting, I need to take as much slack as I can. That reduces the risk that you spool up too much and can't spool anymore. You want this thing centered, picking up each side of the track evenly. And now I can start to ratchet and make sure I'm guiding the strap in. Look at that, we're already pretty close. Wiggle them. One thing, you're never gonna, like if I'm right here, I can pull all I want to. It's not gonna do anything. It's not going to do anything to take that slack out. You always got to be back here. Then you can maybe take the slack out. See that? I can't even get it. You know, it is what it is. Hopefully the strap will be able to get it. The amount of force it takes to slip these around is way more than you can put out. So if they're not going, then they're just not going. You need to change your strategy. Now, when you get ready to connect the tracks, when you're getting close, you have to have these bushings in there. And they are going to fall out. Every time you've almost got it, they will fall out. So, the thing to do is take a little painter's tape, get you a little square of it, you stick it on the bar, the loop, whatever you want to call it. Then you can take your bushing, slap it on your pants, and do this number. Now it'll stay. You can do that on both sides. Then when you go to put your bolts in, you just punch it through the tape. We're getting there. I'm gonna get everything, make sure I keep everything centered up. It's gonna make it a lot easier on me. See that? We're close. Eventually I'm going to get to the point where one of them will hold itself. Look, I can see I'm pulling a little uneven, which isn't really going to help me. So what I can do, take my sledge, and I'm going to scoot my ratchet where it's grabbing. I'm going to scoot it over a little bit to get it just right. Anything you can do to make it easier, because this is not an easy thing to do. Generally. Okay, so I'm right here, and I'm looking, not a lot of sag, you know? I'm not at my hole yet, and it's already pretty tight. And remember, my tires are uninflated. Now there's also this, if you look here, I got a little bit of slack there. So first thing I'm gonna do is try and get rid of all the slack. But what I'm checking right now is, do I want to move this one to here to get a little more slack out of my track where it's not going to be too tight? Generally, you want these things to be as loose as you can get them. The looser they are, the less extra pressure you're putting on the bearings for your wheels. But also, the less pressure you're putting, the less traction you get between the tire and the tracks. So you can run into a situation where the tires just spin and the tracks don't go. So what I do is I set these up where I can put, ideally, I have my tires at about 30 pounds. And at 30 pounds, I've got a pretty good sag here, probably 2 inches of droop here. They're not super tight, they're not being hard on the bearings, but they're also not slipping all the time. Then, if I do get into a situation where they're slipping, I can go ahead and pump my tires up to the full 50, 55 pounds. Tracks will tighten up a little bit when I need it, and I can get that traction. But remember, I can come up here and pull it all I want to, and nothing's going to happen. If I want to take this slack out, I got to come down here. See that? Came right out. I just gained myself a lot of slack there. So now I'm gonna probably, look at that. I can go ahead and put that bolt in. Let's do that. Punch it right through the painter's tape. Put it in the correct side, would probably be a good idea. You can't really over tighten these. The way that these tracks work, at least, I'm sure you'd strip these threads before you got to any kind of pinching going on. Get it good and tight where it ain't gonna fall off. Okay, now that I'm at this point, I got this bolt in. I still got a little slack over here. What I'm not gonna do is just start cranking on this again. No, that might work just fine actually, but anyway, here's a better way to do it. Move your strap over to the other side. It's gonna be able to pull way harder, twice as hard actually, if you can bump that strap over to that side that you still need attached. Even if it's only part way, it makes a big difference. And already that tightens it up a little. I'm pretty close. Probably just one more click. Yep. That's really close. That's probably it. This is what I was talking about earlier. When you first set this strap up, the short end of your ratchet strap, get it as far over as you can, because if you don't, when you go to unlock this strap, and even right here, I might have a little bit of an issue. See that? Won't go. There should be a hole in the back of your ratchet strap where you can stick something in the back of the ratchet mechanism, like a screwdriver, and pry it open to unlock it. So yeah, I gotta go get something to do that with. Got a good bit of pressure on it, so. And that's it. It's a very close to fully charged 9 amp flex. 5.5 minutes. Now the other one. Okay, I fired it up and drove it back and forth a little bit, and that's where we ended up. That's pretty good. That's what I like. If however much sag you can get away with, do it. The more sag you allow, the less pressure you're putting on the machine, the better. But this is perfect for me. I'm at 30 psi in both tires. That's a safe pressure that I feel like I don't have to worry about my tires debeading at that pressure. Then I can bump it up to 50, 55 pounds if I get into a situation where they're slipping. Now to do the other side. Just do this exact same thing again, but put up a mirror and watch yourself in the mirror, and then you'll be able to do it.